Recently, I just came across one of the simplest possible budgeting apps there is, and I want to show it to you now. It's called Fudget, and it's available on both Apple's App Store and Google Play. It doesn't have any crazy bells or whistles, but it does have simplicity, and that's one of the most important things when it comes to personal finance. So let's get into it right now. Hello there, my name is Caleb. Oof. Hello there, my name is Caleb. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to control your finances and master your budget, then start now by hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. I am all about budgeting here on this channel, and it's pretty clear because I've done a number of budgeting videos. I've done 3 budget setups, one on EveryDollar, one on YNAB, and one on Mint. And just for good measure, I did one where I was comparing all 3. Well, I want you to be as comfortable as possible with budgeting, so I go out and find the best possible budgeting apps for you. So let's open up the app and I'll show you around. The first thing that you see is all the settings. You have quite a few different settings. Up here, it shows that it has a pro upgrade, which I did upgrade to just so you can see all the tools and details. It's only $4 and it's not a subscription, so it's just one time, which I think is probably worth it for the tools that you get, but I'll show you what you can do with it and what you can do without it, and then you can make that decision. And then there are some other great features, like you can passcode lock it, which is nice. You can change the theme. We'll go with green because I like green. And you can also save it to your Dropbox, which is really nice because that gives you a backup of some sort just in case something happens to your phone. I like that green. I should probably mention that all the colors are part of the Pro upgrade, but like I said, it's only $4 and you can budget that in your new app. All right, so from the very start, it's incredibly simple within the budgets. All you have to do is add budget, and we'll name this a month of the year. So since it's November now, then I'm just gonna put in November. And then I have my November budget. All I have to do is go into November, and then I can add income and add expenses. So let's say that my salary is, let's say, paycheck 1, because you can add in different paychecks. Well, we'll say that my paycheck is $1,000 flat. And you can also put in a date when you receive that. So I'll say November 5th because that's a Friday. I can also add paycheck 2, another $1,000. Oh, that's 10,000. That'd be nice. We'll say it's every 2 weeks, so on November 19th, I'll get the second paycheck. Well, I can also add all of my expenses. So let's say my rent or mortgage. Well, we'll just say rent. $750. That was what our rent was back at the apartment, which was real nice. You can also record when that's going to come out. So normally it's on like the 1st of the month. So we'll just say November 1st. Let's add in another expense for groceries. We'll say $400. Now let's put in something like our auto insurance, okay? And we'll say that that's $95. Coming out on the 11th. We'll throw in some gas here, and we'll say $200. Also, this is gonna be a super simplified budget. We'll also put in utilities. We'll say $150. And then for the rest, we'll put in our credit card payment, which we'll say is $405. Now, the nice thing about this is here at the bottom, you can toggle between income and expenses just by hitting this button. So it shows you exactly how much income you have coming in based on what you input. And then also it'll show you the expenses that you have based on what you put in for your expenses. And then on the other side, it'll show you the amount of it'll show you the balance that you have remaining in that month if you haven't budgeted everything. So in this case, we budgeted everything out perfectly, so it shows that we have $0 left. If we toggle that, it'll also show that we paid nothing. So in the case of rent, let's say that since it's coming out on November 1st, today's November 2nd that I'm filming this. If I click on this, if I swipe this over to the left, I can click this paid button and it crosses it out. Now it shows that I have paid that $750 already. It kind of helps you keep track of bills and expenses and make sure that you're staying on track for staying up to date with all of your bills. Now, if I had another expense, say Netflix, and it cost $10 this month, okay? If I put that in there, it's gonna show me on the right side a negative $10 because that's my running balance. And then also at the bottom, it shows that I have a negative $10 balance. So that helps me understand that I need to go through here and either take out Netflix or I need to figure out how to minimize the cost of one of these other categories. So maybe we can just reduce what we eat by $10 this month. And once I modify that, then my balance updates at the bottom. Now, if I go back, then I've got my November budget right here and I can add a new budget. However, before I do that, I want to go back into my November budget and I want to make each of these a starred expense or income, and then it will pull each of those into the following budget. So if we're preparing for December, then this is going to make it a lot easier because we don't have to input all of these incomes and expenses for the following month. So let's go back, let's say December. Now we have a December budget. If we open that up, it's going to ask, do you want to add the starred items? You say yes, and then it copies all of those over. Now, since it's a new month, we can modify this based on what we have coming in. So maybe if we get a bonus this month, let's say that that's $500. Now we have $500 more that we can budget here shown at the balance. And it'll also show it in our running balance on the right side of the screen. Also, given that it's December, let's add in some expense for some gifts, $400. And we'll put in our last expense for December, chocolate milk. Again, on the right side, we can see the rolling balance, which really helps as you're putting information in. It just shows you exactly where you're at throughout the month. And if we toggle between income and expenses, we see that it's the same. If we see balance at 0, then that means that we have a zero-based budget. It just means that the income and the outflow has to be the exact same, because you definitely don't want to be spending more than what you have. And then if we toggle over to paid, then it also shows that we haven't paid anything. And that's because we paid our last month's rent. This now, since I pulled all this information over from our November budget, this automatically updates so that our rent comes out on December 1st. So we can swipe that over, say that it's paid. Maybe we say that our December utilities comes out on December 4th, and we can also mark that as paid if that's the case. Then here at the bottom, it's going to show that we've paid $900 total of our expenses. Now, one thing that I really like about this is that if we go up to the options, we can look at a very simple chart. It's just going to show us the breakdown of the different categories and how much we put into each category, as well as the percentage, which really makes it nice for kind of analyzing how much we're putting into each category. I have a video where I actually break down the amount, like the percentage of your paycheck that you should be putting into a number of categories. I think it was maybe 12 categories, but I'll include that video up here if you want to check it out. And this can kind of help you compare to where you should be with those percentages. Another thing I like is that if you upgraded your Fudget app to the Pro version, then you can actually export your budget as a CSV file, which allows you to change numbers and everything within like a spreadsheet app like Excel or Numbers. Now, real quick, let's delete chocolate milk, as much as I don't want to do that. And if we go to balance, it'll show that we have $100 remaining to budget. That'll also update if you go back to your budgets. It'll show in the front screen exactly how much you have left to budget. So in November, we have $0 left to budget. In December, we still have $100 left to budget. That helps quite a bit in just making sure that you're getting closer to that zero-based budget that we just talked about. And also, like I mentioned, you can save your data to your Dropbox, which is really nice because it backs up your budget, because you don't actually have like an account through this, so you can't just sign in anywhere. You're gonna have to actually back it up to Dropbox and then restore it from Dropbox as well. Now, before we get any further, we gotta thank our sponsor, Fleece. This is what I'm rocking right now because it is so comfortable. And it's got these reindeer on it, even though it's November. Can be a little bit distracting for a video though, which is why I keep it below the tiny desk. Now, here are a few quirks with apps. So when I told you that this is a simple app, I meant it. It's very simple. Like I said, basically everything that we've gone through so far is the exact tools that you have within the app. So though the simplicity is nice, you're also going to be pretty limited in terms of your tools when it comes to categories. So I've got groceries right here set for $390. In any other app, I should be able to budget $390, and then whenever I go to the grocery store and make a purchase, then I can record a single expense in that category and it'll show me how much I have left. So in this case, we just have one line for groceries, and if I need to go to the store and I spend $100 instead of $390, I can't record that within the grocery line item. So basically my only option is going into the groceries and just changing that to $100 because that's how much I spent at the grocery store. Well, now I have $390 left, so I might have to now add another line item for groceries and then say I want to have $250 left in the grocery line item. Then it might get a little confusing because you have no idea how many times you go to the grocery store. So then you might have like 4 or 5 different grocery line items just for all the different expenses that you had. So though you can technically record your transactions individually, it might get kind of messy because if you have very many trips to the grocery store, then you're going to be adding in a lot of lines showing the groceries. For that reason, it might be kind of confusing if you had certain categories where you had to add a lot of transactions like groceries or gas. But in terms of like auto insurance, you put that in there, that's a single bill, and you know that that full amount is coming out on, say, December 11th. That's easy, and you can just swipe over and say it's paid once it's actually paid. But the fact that you can't go into individual categories and add individual transactions kind of bothers me and is probably my biggest problem with this app. Also, one nice feature that I haven't tried is that if you go back to settings, you can actually get Fudget for your desktop, which basically you just have to throw in your email address and then they send you the link that you need for that. Now the question is it right for you? And my guess is you probably already have a pretty good feel for it just by watching me go through the app. But here's my opinion. I love the simplicity of it. It makes it very easy for setting up a budget, and it also makes it pretty easy to go from month to month for creating new budgets. Putting in income and expenses is pretty straightforward, but I think it's important to note that the transactions are pretty limited, and I'm hoping that this is an update that they have for the future app. I could see it being a great app for someone that has more of a hybrid method of budgeting. For me, probably not so much because my wife Bailey and I do pretty much all of our budget stuff electronically. But for someone that likes to do more of the physical nature of budgeting with actual envelopes, I think this could be great. Because you're gonna have normal expenses like auto insurance and rent that's gonna just come out of your checking account every month. And then you're gonna have things like fuel for your car or groceries where you've got multiple transactions that you're going to be adding to that one category. With Fudget, you've got certain transactions that you can just mark as paid, like this rent or auto insurance or the utilities. But then with the groceries and gas, you could actually take that money out in physical bills. You can put it in your physical envelopes and then use that cash for your transactions whenever you go to the grocery store, whenever you stop by the gas station on the way home from work. And then even though you're not putting in transactions into the app, you've got a running tally of the amount of money that you have left in that category, because all you have to do is just open up the envelope and you can see how much cash you have left. Having said that, I don't think that it's for everyone. It's a great app, but we'll continue to use EveryDollar, and I know a lot of people will continue to use YNAB and Mint. But if you're looking for a simple app to start out a budget, because I really encourage you to start a budget, then give it a shot, because there's not much of a learning curve. Now, if you found this app review helpful, I would greatly appreciate a like, because it really helps my channel. And while you're down there, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can stay updated on all the videos that I have coming out to help you with your personal finances. And remember, money doesn't have to be confusing. You can control it. If you'd like to see my video all about comparing the top 3 apps that I know of for budgeting, then check out this video up here. Or if you'd like to see a playlist all about budgeting, then you can check out this playlist down here.